My sister's toast destroyed my engagement to keep me as her caretaker. I'm grappling with the fallout of my sister's calculated betrayal, which shattered my engagement in a single speech, all to keep me tethered as her lifelong caregiver. Her selfish actions pushed me away, and now she's facing the consequences of losing everything. What would you do if the sister you raised like your own daughter stood up at your engagement party and convinced your fiancé to leave you? 4 weeks ago, my world collapsed because of one toast, and I'm still trying to process how the person I sacrificed so much for could stab me in the back so thoroughly. I'm a 35-year-old man, and to understand my present, I need to share my past. When I was 20, our parents died in a tragic car accident. My sister, Vanessa, was only 18 at the time. I dropped out of college immediately to care for her, abandoning my own dreams. Our only living relative, our grandmother, was in a nursing home with dementia, leaving me as Vanessa's sole support. We moved into a cramped apartment, and I took a warehouse job to keep us afloat while Vanessa finished high school. For 3 years, I juggled 2 jobs to pay our bills as Vanessa completed her education. She was a bright student but fell hard for Brandon, a reckless guy I never trusted. At 20, Vanessa got pregnant by him. Though I wasn't thrilled, I supported her decision to keep the baby. When Brandon learned about the pregnancy, he vanished, leaving Vanessa heartbroken. I promised her we'd manage together. In 2011, Vanessa gave birth to my nephew, Eric. I was there for his delivery and helped raise him from day one. Vanessa struggled as a young single mother, often disappearing for days to party with friends, leaving me to care for Eric. I didn't complain, knowing she was young and lost. When Eric was 3, Vanessa got pregnant again, this time by a guy named Jason, who also fled when he heard the news. So we welcomed Lily, and I became the primary caregiver for both kids, working 3 jobs while Vanessa sorted herself out. Eventually, Vanessa pulled herself together, earning a dental assistant certification from community college and landing a steady job. Still, I remained heavily involved, handling the kids' doctor visits, school pickups, homework, and shopping for their needs. I never minded. Eric and Lily were like my own children. Last year, Eric turned 15 and Lily was 13. I taught Eric to ride a bike and play baseball, and I used to braid Lily's hair for school. Though they call me Uncle Ryan, I've been more like their father. 3 years ago, I met Regina, a 29-year-old woman, at my new job as a logistics supervisor. She worked in accounting and bonded instantly with Eric and Lily. Regina was understanding about my responsibilities, adjusting our plans around the kids' needs. After 18 months together, I proposed last Christmas, and she said yes. We planned a September wedding, and Vanessa seemed thrilled, helping Regina shop for dresses and discussing wedding details endlessly. Everything felt perfect. 6 months ago, Vanessa started dating Marcus, a 36-year-old divorced construction worker with no kids. He seemed decent, treated the kids well, and occasionally took us out for meals or games. But Vanessa's behavior began to change. She started making odd comments, suggesting I should stop babysitting and start my own family, claiming Eric and Lily were too old to depend on me so much. This was strange since the kids still wanted me around, and I'd never complained. She also made remarks to Regina, implying she'd want her own children someday and wouldn't want to raise someone else's forever. I reassured Vanessa that Regina and I were aligned on our family dynamic. The disaster struck 4 weeks ago at our engagement party, held at a local restaurant with 40 close friends and family, planned with Vanessa's help. Everything was going beautifully until Vanessa stood to give her toast. Instead of celebrating us, she launched into a speech about my sacrifices, how I'd given up college, my 20s, and other relationships to care for her and her kids. Then, looking straight at Regina, she said she couldn't let me make another sacrifice. She told Regina I'd never prioritize her or their future children because of my obligations, urging her to find someone who could give her their full attention. The room fell silent. Regina, pale and shaken, fled the restaurant. I chased after her, but she drove off without a word. Back inside, Vanessa was crying, claiming she only wanted what was best. I told her she had no right to sabotage my relationship. She insisted she was saving Regina and me from a mistake. The party collapsed, with half the guests leaving. Regina ignored my calls for 3 days. When we finally met, she admitted Vanessa's words had shaken her. She questioned whether I could truly prioritize our marriage after 16 years of putting Vanessa and her kids first. I tried to convince her I could balance everything, but Regina said she needed time alone to think. 4 weeks later, she still hasn't given me an answer. Vanessa keeps calling to apologize but defends her actions, expecting me to continue helping with the kids as if nothing happened. I can barely stand to look at her. I'm lost, unsure of what to do next. Did Vanessa genuinely think she was helping, or was she just being selfish? Is Regina's doubt about our relationship fair? One reckless toast seems to have unraveled my entire life. First update: many of you asked for an update after I shared how my sister ruined my engagement party. Things have only gotten worse. 2 weeks after my original post, Regina called to end our engagement. She said Vanessa's speech forced her to realize we'd never fully discussed our priorities. After 16 years of me putting Vanessa and her kids first, Regina doubted I could prioritize our marriage. I begged her to reconsider, promising to put our future first, but she said the damage was done. She'd been reflecting on all the times we canceled plans for Eric's games or Lily's projects, feeling she'd always be second in our relationship. The worst part was when she returned my ring, saying she still loved me but couldn't marry someone who wasn't fully hers. We both cried, but she stood firm. I confronted Vanessa at her house on a Saturday morning when Marcus was away. I demanded to know why she gave that speech. She initially claimed she was protecting everyone, but I pressed harder, asking if she was scared of losing her free babysitter and financial support. Finally, she admitted the truth. My engagement terrified her. She'd grown so used to my constant help that she panicked at the thought of managing alone. She confessed Marcus wasn't ready to take on her kids, and she wasn't ready to let me go, knowing it was selfish. She thought breaking up Regina and me would keep things as they were. I was stunned that she deliberately destroyed my relationship to preserve her convenience. I asked if she'd ever considered my happiness. She cried, apologizing, but the damage was done. After her confession, I told her I needed space from her and the kids to process everything. Vanessa freaked out, accusing me of abandoning Eric and Lily. She claimed I was punishing them for her mistakes and that I'd promised to always be there. I tried to explain I wasn't leaving them, just taking time for myself, but she wouldn't listen. She called me a terrible person for prioritizing my happiness over the kids, warning that they'd never forgive me if I left. It's been 2 months since we spoke. Eric has texted, asking why I stopped coming by, saying Vanessa told him I was too busy with my own problems. Last week, Lily called, crying, asking if I was mad at her. I don't know how to explain this without badmouthing Vanessa. The kids don't deserve to suffer for their mother's manipulation, but I can't go back to being her crutch. She's shown she'll destroy my happiness to keep her life easy. Meanwhile, Vanessa's been telling relatives I abandoned her and the kids after years of support. My cousin called last week, accusing me of being heartless, saying Vanessa's struggling alone and the kids keep asking for me. Marcus is reportedly stepping up, but Vanessa told him he doesn't compare to me, which has strained their relationship. Marcus confessed to her that he feels inadequate compared to her reliance on me, and now their relationship is shaky. Vanessa begged me to talk to Marcus and clarify her intentions, but I refused. She caused this mess, and she needs to face the consequences. I worry she'll lose both Marcus and me, leaving the kids confused and hurt. I'm torn. Am I selfish for stepping back, or is this the right choice? Second update: things with Vanessa have taken an unexpected turn, so here's another update. After my last post, many suggested I be honest with Eric and Lily about my absence. I decided to share some truth with them. I met them at a park near their school one afternoon and explained that I needed space to sort out adult issues with Vanessa, emphasizing it wasn't about them. I reassured them of my love but said I couldn't keep being their primary caregiver. Eric seemed to understand better than Lily, who asked if I was leaving for good. Eric, now 15, noticed Vanessa's struggles more since Marcus left. 7 weeks after my last update, Marcus ended things with Vanessa, saying he couldn't be with someone so dependent on another man. Vanessa was devastated and begged me to help win him back. I told her to handle her relationships herself. But then she crossed a line, manipulating Eric and Lily to pressure me into returning. She'd have them call me for things she could handle, like Lily's homework or Eric's baseball practice. I saw she was conditioning them to rely on me instead of her. I confronted Vanessa, telling her to stop dragging the kids into our conflict. She insisted she was doing nothing wrong, saying the kids naturally turned to me. I pointed out she'd spent years leaning on me instead of stepping up as a parent, which wasn't fair to Eric and Lily. She got defensive, accusing me of calling her a bad mother and saying I was absurd for cutting them off when families help each other. Then, Mrs. Alvarez, Vanessa's neighbor, visited my apartment. She revealed Vanessa often complained about parenting, calling Eric and Lily burdens and wishing for her carefree youth. Vanessa bragged about my help but never mentioned my financial support over the years. Mrs. Alvarez said Vanessa portrayed herself as a struggling single mom, taking credit for raising the kids while I did the heavy lifting. This realization hit hard. Vanessa had been playing the victim while I bore the real burden. I wrote Vanessa a letter, stating I'd stay in touch with Eric and Lily on my terms, monthly outings and emergency support. But I was done being her fallback. I told her to take full responsibility for her kids' needs and seek professional help if she couldn't cope. Vanessa showed up at my apartment with the kids, claiming they missed me, but it felt like another manipulation. I enjoyed time with Eric and Lily, but told her she couldn't drop by unannounced. She accused me of treating her like a stranger and apologized again for the engagement party, but I said apologies weren't enough. Trust requires actions, not words. She's since told others I abandoned my family for my own selfishness, painting herself as a victim. I'm done caring about her narrative. I won't let her ruin my life again. Third update. This will likely be my final update, as I feel this chapter of my life is closing. Vanessa and I barely speak now. After my last update, she made one last desperate attempt to pull me back into our old dynamic. She showed up at my workplace, causing a scene in front of my colleagues, claiming I'd abandoned her kids when they needed me most. She said Eric was failing 3 classes and Lily was acting out at school, begging me to return to ease their pain. My supervisor, embarrassed by the outburst, asked about my personal life, and I had to explain everything. Thankfully, he was understanding but warned me to keep personal issues out of work. That night, I called Vanessa and told her she was banned from my workplace. I warned that I'd report her for harassment if she did it again. She claimed she was desperate, unsure how to help Eric with his math struggles or handle Lily's defiance at school. I told her these were normal parenting challenges and suggested school counselors and tutoring programs. She complained she lacked time and money, saying things were easier when I handled everything. It hit me that Vanessa never learned to parent independently because I'd always been her safety net. I made a final offer. I'd take Eric and Lily for a weekend trip during summer break and see them twice a month, but she had to handle everything else. She said this wasn't enough, insisting the kids needed more stability than occasional visits. She asked what would happen to Eric and Lily if she died, saying I was their only family. I told her that was the problem. I'd become so central to their lives that she couldn't function without me. It was unhealthy and it had to change. She accused me of punishing the kids for her mistakes, saying a real man would put their needs first. That was our last conversation 3 months ago. Eric occasionally texts, and I respond lightly, avoiding heavy topics. Lily's calls, clearly coached by Vanessa, go to voicemail. Mrs. Alvarez says Vanessa's struggling. Eric quit baseball and is failing classes, while Lily's behavior issues have worsened, forcing Vanessa to take time off work for school meetings. Vanessa tells others I abandoned them at their lowest point. But Mrs. Alvarez shared that Eric told friends his mom needs to get her own life, showing more maturity than her. I'm doing better, earning a small promotion and taking online courses to improve my skills. I've started dating casually and rebuilding my social life. Sometimes, I wonder if I stepped back too far. Eric and Lily are suffering, though they didn't cause this. But I know I can't keep enabling Vanessa's dependence without destroying my own life. She had 16 years to learn to parent independently, but chose to rely on me instead. When I tried to change our dynamic, she sabotaged my happiness to maintain her comfort. I don't regret helping Vanessa when she was young and overwhelmed, but I wish I'd set boundaries earlier. By not pushing her to grow as a parent, I enabled her reliance on me. Now we both face the consequences. She must learn to manage without a safety net, and I'm rebuilding my life while knowing Eric and Lily are struggling. It's not a happy ending, but it's the only way I can move forward and build a future free from Vanessa's chaos. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories, get more experiences.